Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. I have some important news. Just broke, I don't know, an hour and a half ago. I wasn't home, but my phone was going crazy. And it's exciting news. So, what do we have? We have an update from D&D Beyond. Now, this update's also on Twitter. Um, and I suspect I'll be using a graphic from Twitter for the screen cap for this episode of Tavern Chat. But OGL 1.0A and Creative Commons. This is from the survey at D&D Beyond. This is from Kyle Brink. I'm not, this stuff is going on Twitter. It's going on D&D Beyond. I actually had to scratch my head and look at my phone, double check the date. I was like, we're not in April, right? This isn't April 1st. Because I don't know if anybody who had this exact box on their bingo card. I know I did not. OGL 1.0A and Creative Commons, when you give us playtest feedback, we take it seriously. Okay. Already more than 15,000 of you have filled out the survey. And I knew a lot of people said, I'm going to fill out the survey, but nobody's going to read it and nobody's going to care what I have to say. Well, folks, I did recommend filling it out because even if they don't read your details, they're going to look at the numbers. They're going to look at the trends on it. And they're giving us data. Remember, I did crime stats for a couple years as a cop, a year or so as a sergeant. Even did some of it as in internal affairs. Certain times you can't pad numbers. Sometimes you can't fudge numbers. And they're showing us numbers. Now, I'm surprised that they're showing these numbers because these numbers show the effect that you, the gaming community, OSR, 5e, Pathfinder, and beyond have shown which to the coast. All right, here's what you all said. This starts getting very important. These are great numbers. 88% of respondents do not want to publish tabletop RPG content under OGL 1.2. 88%. That is huge. 90% would have to change some aspect of their business to accommodate OGL 1.2. Huge. 9 out of 10. Essentially, 9 out of 10, 89% are dissatisfied with the authorizing OGL 1.0A. 86% are dissatisfied with the draft VTT policy. 62% are satisfied with including system reference documents, SRD, content in Creative Commons, and the majority of those who are dissatisfied ask for more SRD content in Creative Commons. These live survey results are clear. You want OGL 1.0A. You want irrevocability. You like Creative Commons. The feedback is in such high volume and its direction is so plain that we are acting now. This is where you can say, folks, we won. It's a shame we had to get here. Never should have happened. It didn't have to happen this way. They could have gone with what was believed to be their initial plan, all right, which was if you opt in to the OGL 1.1, you are no longer authorized to use 1.0A. However, if you didn't opt in, 1.0A was still okay for you. You should have stuck with that. You wouldn't have had this pushback, this dissatisfaction. You wouldn't have had articles talking about this pushback from the community, alienating your customer base, your most loyal fans in CNBC today on NPR radio. You wouldn't be having this hitting the mainstream. That also, folks, is what we're looking at here. So, we are leaving OGL 1.0A in place as it is untouched. Timeout. You need to add, we're going to make it 1.0A and add the word irrevocable to it. That's what you need, and that's what you should hold out for, because otherwise you're still being held hostage to some extent. We are also making the entire SRD 5.1 available under a Creative Commons license. That I need to look into a bit deeper. I believe it is Creative Commons 4, 4.0. I got to see how that works. You choose which you prefer. The Creative Commons license makes the content freely available for any use. We don't control that license and cannot alter or revoke it. It is open and irrevocable in a way that doesn't require you to take our word for it. That's telling. That tells you nobody, or not nobody, a large number of people were not finding Wizards of the Coast to be, honest might be too strong a word, uh, completely truthful in what they were presenting and in their answers and in their communications. So, and its openness means there's no need for a VTT policy. Placing the SRD under a Creative Commons license is a one-way door. There's no going back. Our goal here is to deliver on what you wanted. So what about the goals that drove us when we started this process? We wanted to protect the D&D play experience into the future. We still want to do that with your help. We're grateful that this community is passionate and active because we'll need your help protecting the game's inclusive and welcoming nature. Again, that comes from the community. It cannot be dictated by a set of game rules or licensing. We wanted to limit the OGL to tabletop RPGs. With this new approach, we are setting it aside and counting on your choices to define the future of play. Here's a PDF of SRD 5.1 with the Creative Commons license. By simply publishing it, we place it under an irrevocable Creative Commons license. We'll get it hosted in a more convenient place next week. It was important that we take the step now, so there's no question. So the Creative Commons aspect to 5.1 is irrevocable. We'll be closing the OGL 1.2 survey now. By the way, early, right? I think like a week early. We'll keep talking with you about how we can better support our players and creators. Thanks as always for continuing to share your thoughts. Kyle Brink, executive producer, Dungeons and Dragons. What does this mean? Well, I'll tell you, I've spoken to others in the community. Trust me, I've spoken to a lot of people in the last hour and a half or so. And I think the opinion of a few of my friends are accurate. The assumption is this is Wizards of the Coast saying, all right, pen and paper, we'll leave that to the third parties. We're taking the VTT experience. We're taking D&D. We're taking one D&D, D&D 1, and we're moving that on to the virtual world, the virtual play experience with, you guessed it, subscriptions and microtransactions. And now they got to play fair. Now they're going to have to make a better play experience for you, for your players, for the GMs. They're going to have to succeed on their merits, not by squashing the market. That's huge. Now, why did we get this response? Like I said, your voice was heard. Not necessarily by Wizards of the Coast directly. It was heard through the media. It was heard through the stock price dropping, potentially dropping further for Hasbro. So, this is good. Now, does this mean that Project Black Flag should stop? I'm not saying that. Does it mean that we don't need a NORC? I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that if you are an OGL publisher, you can breathe a sigh of relief and perhaps continue doing the work that you were doing. Folks, if you want timely discussion on this, where you can participate in a live stream by putting your comments up on the screen and having your friendly neighborhood gaming community talk with you tonight, 8 p.m. on this very channel, the Tenkar's Tavern channel on YouTube. We have the Random Party Generator. Hear from Joe the Lawyer, Rob Conley, Greg Christopher, Tim Shorts. I don't know about Matt Jackson. Matt's always a roll the die. Myself, maybe one or two others. I don't know. We might not be able to keep Bad Mike quiet on this one. Get some hot takes on what's going on. Tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern on this channel. Love to have you there. Love to have you here. Folks, on that note, Bless you to my wife in the background.
Excuse me, thank you.
On that note, that was like timely. Be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. May you live in interesting times. This is certainly that. All right, folks. God bless. I'll see you, hopefully, most of you again tonight.